Perché ho visto che c'era il cambiato, non c'è il CR, quindi...
No, c'è sono io, ma a meno che non
forse
stavo
qualcuno si è
facendo
connesso. No.
c'è sono io, nel senso che stanotte per la seguarma non andavo in mail che non poteva.
Ah, infatti, ho visto che c'era Teresa, questo è l'ultimo programma.
Però siccome io uso i file del sistema, Chiara usa un file condiviso, può darsi che vanno sovrascritto.
Non lo so, vogliamo provare a riaprirlo, io lo carico. No, non c'è nessuno. No, fellow GC, è partito anche da un amministratore.
Ah, quindi è...
Fellow Gister, quindi è Damiano immagino.
Damiano, se ci senti...
Dobbiamo accendere il microfono.
Damiano, ci senti?
Sì. Però non c'è nessuno, io provo a riaprire la stanza.
No.
È questa? Sì, qua c'è scritto ancora Teresa Guarda per questo.
Ah, hai ragione. Io mi sono portato il computer.
Pure io, l'ho attaccato qua, poi ho dato una mano anche a Rodine.
No, basta che...
La stanza è aperta. No. Quindi voglio mettere il screensaver così, perché non vorrei che sullo screensaver c'è scritto alle 3:30. Quindi si può mettere alle 3:30. Sì, quello screensaver qui così. Tipo nell'altra stanza invece ci vale 2:30. Qui dalle 3:30. Però
Scusa, questa è quella che si no.
però il break è quello. Si vede il programma. Però non si è mai connesso nessuno, perché io sono stato qua per ore quando sto a lavorare. Non si è connesso nessuno.
5...
Ah, vabbè, la faccio così, come cerco io. Forse c'è il fuso orario, allora non... Allora io direi di mettiamo lo screensaver nel caso. Però ci proiettiamo. Come lo faccio da giornale? No, ma c'è così, lo so. Sì, praticamente lo vediamo qui. Vabbè. Scusa per l'altra mattina, però perché ho trovato la stanza aperta, pensavo fosse già là. Ah, invece no, era una stanza che non ho capito che stanza era. Quindi, vabbè, il primo giorno ci sei problemi,
ma non ci sarà più. Mi batterò in via del virtual,
no, anche perché poi nel virtual, cioè io quella sessione, quella mattina ho avuto una persona che, allora, la chat l'ha voluto per far presentare, però una persona che ha mandato un video di un altro autore, dove questa persona non era nemmeno un autore, allora lui metteva il video, invece vedete che era un video, metteva la parte della presentazione e si così, però non sentivamo. E lo detto sempre, al nome è un video, poi ho iniziato a parlare in cinese con un altro, perché loro si capivano. Alla fine mi sono fatto mandare io il suo video e l'abbiamo proiettato. Però così, nel senso. Infatti quando ho messo uno show, ho detto, cioè la gente l'ha fatta presentare, però poi non così. Però gli ho detto, guarda, cioè, non può entrare uno che manda il video di un'altra presentazione perché lui è impegnato e non può presentare, cioè si perde proprio l'idea della conferenza, dove uno discute di una cosa. Quelli online,
no, ma tu pensa a quanti italiani che ora sono incazzato, insomma, io non l'avevo sottaccato. Cioè, qui ci stanno tanti progetti PNRR che devono pubblicare per giustificare il fatto che esistono.
Ah, sì.
Capito? Spendono 100 euro, tu ti sei beccato un anno di lavoro per raccogliere i paper, farli rivedere.
No. Sì, anche perché quest'anno è peccato, c'è poco
la nostra,
ma no,
cioè,
perché non lavorato,
poi diventa veramente squalificante per la conferenza, giustamente, non è che diceva. Sì, ma non c'abbiamo nessuno, la sessione tutta virtuale, talmente virtuale, diventare evanescente.
Però si sta bene, c'è molto fresco. Fuori è previsto che pioverà stasera.
Prima ho fatto due gocce.
Infatti sono andato a cercare un ombrello.
Ma che conosci Francesca Pierri, no?
Francesca?
Pierri?
No.
Che ci tornavi ieri, la signora che stava là.
No, beh, ci siamo
Ah,
conosciuti
ieri,
è
no,
stata
pensavo-
una piacevole conversazione
Pensavo che la conoscevi.
sul delta del Mekong, insomma,
Ah,
sulle,
sì. Ah.
e sulle varie vicissitudini. E niente, no, io sono andato invece a fare questa escursione in Pisa, che è
Sì.
stata molto molto bella.
Che cos'è che ti è piaciuto? A me non è piaciuto.
Allora, io non so come funziona l'escursione, perché a me ad altri due ci hanno fatto fare tutto, altri erano più interessati al cibo, quindi li lasciavano. Io ho fatto
Ho fatto tutto il fatto.
siamo andati per primi alla tomba dell'ultimo imperatore, quindi scalata su siamo andati che è la prima
La
cattedrale.
scalata però non ce l'ha fatta mai, ci ho fatto solo vedere il tempio sotto.
No,
Quella catena, cioè.
non hai capito che cosa si vede da prima.
Ma perché? Perché è una stronza. Infatti a me non è piaciuto.
Però ti posso dire che è una cosa, sono cose a rischio queste qua. Perché
No, perché
comunque
ci anche.
sì, no, non ci va, però ti fai 500 gradini e hai la tomba dell'imperatore, che è una cosa assolutamente spettacolare, perché è allietato dalla musica, lì di vedere il massimo rispetto al tempio, è una cosa mistica del 700. E lì supera il panorama allucinante, cose molto interessanti. Poi, e questo l'abbiamo fatto in tre, ti posso dire, sono amici da 1000 persone.
Poi non ci ho fatto
No, ma questo è una cosa che mi sono prenotato io da un amico che adesso
me lo sono prenotato e pagato in Italia con l'agenzia che ho fatto 11 anni fa a Udei. Però sta lì.
Questo amico ha vissuto qui,
Ah,
quindi lui adesso sta a Singapore, quindi mi ha detto guarda, devi prendere questa agenzia, è l'unica che ti dà. E poi siamo andati lì dove c'è il percorso in barca, quello delle grotte, che è molto bello, tutto a posto. E poi sì, niente di particolare. E poi ci ha portato in questa specie di picco che si scala, una cosa che veramente ci rimani, no, uno di quelle cupole ha un percorso di scale, non so quante scale siano, però a rischio veramente di... E da lì vedi, no, te la faccio vedere perché è una cosa spettacolare, secondo me.
C'era completamente futuro, ma infatti eravamo
Lì ti posso dire che lo so, perché gli altri
noi ci siamo rifatti al sabato, perché il sabato
io vorrei andare, se possa.
il sabato.
E quella del nord, bisogna pensare.
L'unica cosa è che 2 giorni, e quindi devo capire se riesco a conciliare.
Per considerare che sono all'andata e ritorno sono 6-7 ore. All'andata abbiamo fatto overnight in treno, che erano 7 ore. Al ritorno 6-7 ore quindi di bus. Però il bus c'ha il lettino. Hai visto?
Questa è la scalinata che si sale per andare alla tomba dell'imperatore. Ma sali fino a...
Ah no! Aspetta, adesso so io che sono stupido.
Questa è fatta.
No, aspetta, Gino.
Questa è la tomba dell'imperatore.
No, questa no.
Questa è, guarda che cos'è, ma ti faccio vedere anche per scendere che è una cosa allucinante. Qui c'è una musica tutta ed è sulla cima dell'imperatore.
Sì, ma aspetta, l'ho fatta anch'io, però quelle cose lì non ricordo.
Le scale sono veramente vivide, cioè è una cosa, ed è l'unica possibilità è questa, non c'è altro, te le ricorderesti perfettamente. Stiamo parlando di...
Io ultimamente sono disastro, rimuovo le cose che non vengono via. Aspetta perché adesso non ricordo. No, una l'abbiamo vista.
Una l'abbiamo
vista, sì. È stata una faticata strana.
Sì, quello sì. Anche perché lì non è che vai a vedere il tempio che non dice niente, è una cosa del 700. E quell'altra veramente follia. Questa sì che è una follia. Il fatto è questo. Ricordami come si chiamano questi nomi vietnamiti.
Che io sono un disastro. Allora, questo è sabato.
È bellissimo.
Aspetta. Sì. Tutto nuvoloso. Ah, grazie. Questa è già una parte, la casa, diciamo, di un popolo.
Vedete pioveva?
No, era solo tanto.
Quindi perdevo già il 5 e il 6, quindi non so se farà cosa c'è.
Penso che noi avevo tantissimo. E al 10 questo l'ho fatto, tutte 5. Iniziare. Poi
Fiori di loto che sono bellissimi. Forse è quella dopo, quella che arriva in cima, che ci sono due possibilità.
Esatto.
E quella l'ho fatta, anche quella. Dove siete arrivati in Gesù?
in giro.
Dove c'è il drago o dove c'è la...
Dove
ce ne sono due. Una è
tutte e due le fate. La prima di qua mi è piaciuta tanto.
Era proprio quella.
Sì. Ma questo sì, d'accordo.
Quella...
Però tu non parlavi di un'altra cosa.
Questa è un'altra. Questo è sopra il tempio
di ok,
della cattedrale.
era solo questa la
sì.
che dicevi tu?
Su questa assolutamente. Sì. No, allora hai fatto tutto.
La musica era... Oh, c'è quello. Ok. Sorry, hi. Can you?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hi. Thank you for joining. Yeah, we were waiting because no one was in the session, so.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. I think it's afternoon, maybe in Vietnam.
Yeah, in Vietnam it's afternoon. What time is in
Okay. In Italy, it's 9 and a quarter.
You are in Italy? Ah.
Yeah. Voi parlate italiano?
Sì, sono italiano.
Ok. Va bene. Sì.
So you are...
Volevo far sicuro che sono giusto, stanza giusto. Sono Wazir Baksh.
Mi sa di no, perché non vedo il tuo nome.
Baksh Wazir.
Allora, tu, you are in room 5F.
F, sì, F sono sicuro. F adesso... Sì, F Wazir Baksh Wazir. On smart ports. Literature review on smart ports.
No, it is not smart ports.
La sessione
It's IKIT.
è l'orario di dopo. Con Mussolini.
Sorry. You have the session later.
Okay. So
Should be 6F, I guess. Let me check.
It's 5 o'clock up Vietnam time. 5 o'clock up the afternoon.
Now it's early. It's 2:20.
Okay, so I am in the same room but with the later section, right?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, your presentation is scheduled at 5.
All right, it's mezzogiorno italiano, diciamo.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for the
Okay,
call. Bye. Ciao.
No, quello me lo ricordo che fa rigare che sta, ragazzi.
Quando succede la stupidaggine che ho fatto non portare in altra
Ma
io ero completamente...
assolutamente. Io ero vestito, diciamo, modalità CAI, perché noi ci siamo postati gli zaini del CAI e tutto. Quindi c'è questa maglietta che se bagna tutta non si asciuga, cioè fa subito. Quindi poco dopo non si asciuga mai con le magliette. Infatti da lì ci hanno portati in albergo.
Questo è un
No, ma non c'era questa vita. Che era una signora abbastanza, cioè no, perché non anziana, però insomma una sua età, sarà venuto 45. No, non lo so, però ci diceva sempre che vedevo guardare lì, però si scivola, quindi pensavo che tu facessi riferimento a quella cosa. E poi niente, finiva tutto più o meno la corazza. Allora, se hai fatto sta fatica,
Sono partito proprio alle 7:30 del mattino e sono arrivato alle 10.
e noi no, siamo andati tutto il pranzo. Praticamente abbiamo sempre saltato il pranzo perché in questi alberghi fai le regolazioni gigantesche. Però sì,
Sì. Ascolta, mi consigli qualche gita particolare se non riesco ad andare a San
esatto.
Mi consigli qualche posto che merita molto?
Insomma, non vai da fare.
A Lombay, ma no, l'ho fatta, ma è molto simile per una città meglio. Davvero?
Questa è pensando il cibo
Non penso proprio.
Ah sì,
Ma vai a Lombay sta cioè, un'ora e mezzo.
ma quella è
Però devi giocare, no, devi giocare. Cioè, fai la notte di mare. Già lo so, sono delle barche più o meno grandi. E vabbè, dopo c'è tutto il rituale di famiglie, fare il lavoro di cucina, c'è sempre quello.
meno turistica, non c'è. Adesso guardo il sito dove anche mi ha raccontato.
Puoi sentire cosa pensi lì?
Voi invece andate con l'albergo?
Sì, è un po' sta guardando, però è in giornata, credo, perché loro non
Ah, lei?
Eh sì, perché loro non partono. Io mi fermo. Io mi fermo, cioè.
Io
Io vado e dormo.
Adesso e c'è la ragazza.
Ah, sì, c'è la mia ragazza.
È tutta un'altra storia.
Sì, infatti. Anche perché sarebbe la sua vacanza estiva, quindi.
Io non ho portato nessuno.
Vabbè, però insomma, se vai è un altro modo.
Però non vedo.
No, se vai lì sì, vedi sta cosa bella perché vedi questi tipo panettoni del mare. Tu consideri ci vuole
Anche a Inciso.
e ci sono mangiati però lì sta anche il mare.
Però lì sta nel mare,
Poi
c'è
dopo
la
se
sera.
tu fai la crociera, almeno 11 anni fa quando l'ho fatta io, ti fanno fare delle escursioni in canoa in alcuni, perché alcuni di questi sono cavi all'interno, quindi vai dentro, c'è una gronda, ti passi con la canoa,
E puoi anche fare.
ti puoi anche tuffare, io all'epoca non ero anche tuffato, però mi diceva Francesca ad esempio che lei non sta tuffata perché quando è un cavallo l'acqua verde.
E adesso incrociamo le dita.
Basta che non bevi, insomma.
Va bene.
Non è che sei fatto che l'hai toccata, che sai che succede.
Io non ho preso l'albergo, ho preso un appartamento, qua vicino, una specie di non è un resort che hanno mini appartamenti e mi trovo abbastanza bene per la possibilità di lavorare.
Non avete nessuno? Empty. Quindi hanno un po' di problemi, si sono dimenticati di tutto. La ragazza grande non riesce, non ha lei la connessione, non riesce ad accedere a dei problemi di connessione.
Però se te lo usi qualcosa non è.
Ah, non mi dispiace.
Con crociera però.
Vabbè, ero un libro.
Ma devo presentare
2
la
giorni,
volta fa.
dici?
Sì, sì.
Ah, io c'ho lo spazio. Non ho problemi.
No, allora non lo so. No, solo questa qui di essere quindi che non l'hanno chiamata con WhatsApp. C'è una ragazza che presenta il posto suo
E parla regolare. Che casino.
Peccato, online non c'è nessuno.
Se quasi sicuro, ma in realtà te lo sento.
Ma tu presenti pure domani, no? Non è che presenti.
Sì, io sono uno. Ah, vabbè, io input l'anno scorso ne ho fatti 3, cioè ce la facevo più. A inizio l'anno scorso 3.
Anch'io il 3.
Anche lei.
Sempre il 3.
No, ma io ci presento appunto dal Internet Review, no? Con un sistema di categorie del Cultural Ecosystem Services, quindi come l'intercetto.
La ragazza in Dio. Anche lei.
Basato su 5 articoli.
5 articoli. Mazza che li imparate da io. Ma almeno le letti tutti bene. Le letti tutti bene.
No,
No,
lo spogliate.
Vabbè.
Però io apprezzo la mia fantasia.
La creatività.
Adesso fate la presentazione.
No, la devo finire. Ma in realtà è quella di metro lì, perché poi finisce bene.
Chi è Metro?
Come l'ho fatto la Creta. Però devo finire anche le cose. Federico probabilmente non va a dei risultati.
No, non te l'hanno mandati.
A me che se quando sono sempre.
Vediamo.
Cioè, Simone, sai che in F
Si vede il muro. Ah, sì, e questa è quella che presenta. Però devo finire l'ultima parte che devo mettere il
Ammazza
modello.
che color!
Il modellino.
Ammazza che color!
Vedi che a metro lì era carino.
No, però non color, poi non si può salvare, si deve.
La mia ha scritto che c'è un problema.
C'è che sei per Porto Sfiga. Nome nuovo funziona anche.
Ah, lo sai che stamattina il ragazzo di Tokyo che parlava dei grafi, dell'algoritmo di Porsche, cioè questo qua fa teoria pura.
Sì, assolutamente.
Ma è magnifico. Io ero lì, era pure poesia.
Io lo valuto un po' male. Lo valuto un po' male.
Dovevano andare un po' male.
L'ho valutato.
Un po' male.
Un po' male.
Perché?
Tiziana, penso che ti sei unita alla stanza sbagliata.
Good morning. C'è nessuno. Scusa. Hello?
Hello.
I'm Giuseppe Musolino, your presenter.
Yeah, I am the presenter of the first presentation. My name is Muhammad Junaid.
Sorry, just let me check.
Yes.
Okay. Which presentation? Sorry.
Exploring mobility in rural areas.
No.
You didn't find it?
No, perhaps I'm or you or me or in the wrong session. This is
So,
the sustainability parts session.
but I am in the exploring inner area potential.
Okay, so I'm wrong, perhaps. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Where it is, yeah.
And, Unione. Good morning.
Morning. Hi.
Are you Daniel Mark Vitiello?
Yes, Daniel Vitiello. Yes.
Are you the presenter of your?
Yes, I will present today. Yes.
Okay. Then, is there in the room any other presenter? No. Okay. So we wait for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
I try to share my screen. Could you see my presentation, Daniel?
Yes.
Also advancing.
Yes, now it's going ahead. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good. Hi, Patrizia. How are you?
Hi Giuseppe, fine. You?
Fine, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
we are late on the other room. So I think in 5 minutes we can start.
We have only two presenter. I can see only two presenter. I don't know if it's better to wait for another couple of minutes.
Yeah, we can wait. I'm Simone Corrado, I'm the technical assistant of PG.
You agree? Do you agree?
Yeah. Okay.
I think we are all virtual in virtual mode.
Okay.
So I think it's better to wait another couple of minutes and not to make any interruption during the. Okay, it's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Is there any are there any people in the room?
no, there is no one because other rooms are going. So there are.
This is fully virtual.
This is
This session is fully virtual. Is someone
Yeah.
in the if there is someone in the at the conference that would like to see, he or she must connect in remote. Is it right?
No, I stay connected, but there is the coffee break. So
Okay.
for now, no one will join this.
Okay, so it's better to wait another couple of
Wait.
minutes. Okay, thank you. Okay, if you agree, I think we can start. Daniel and Patrizia and Simone. Simone.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, I think we can start this section. Welcome to everybody. We have two presentations respect to the 5 planned presentations. So I think we can start taking our time. We have all our time for our presentation, and I invite Daniel Vitiello from Università of Cagliari, I suppose.
Yes.
Yes, please, Daniel. Ah, okay. Sorry. Okay. Please go ahead.
Okay. Do you see the scrolling?
Yes, we can see the screen. You have 20 minutes more or less.
Okay. Thank you. So good morning and good afternoon to everyone. I'm Daniel Vitiello, a PhD student at the University of Cagliari in Italy, and today I will present our study conducted by me, Patrizia Serra, and Gianfranco Fancello. The title of our work is Bibliometric Analysis and Knowledge Mapping of Greenhouse Gas Emissions in Ports, a review. This is the summary of the presentation. So after a brief introduction of the context, I will illustrate the state of the art and the research aim. Then I will describe the methodology, the main results, and the final conclusions. So the transport sector is one of the principal contributors to global greenhouse gas emissions. For example, in 2019, it accounted for 25% of the total energy consumption and was responsible for nearly 40% of the emissions from the end-use sectors. It's important to notice in this context the role of seaports in the international maritime transport sector and the crucial role that they play. For this reason,
You're in the. We see always the first slide,
Yes.
Daniel.
Okay, I'll try again.
You should share the screen, your screen.
Do you see?
Yes.
Introduction now?
Yes.
Okay. So for this reason, ports are under increasing pressure to reduce their negative impact on climate and environment. Okay. Do you see the table? Yes?
Yes, now
very good. Okay.
see slide number 4.
Okay. So we started conducting a state-of-the-art on review papers on this topic of sustainability in ports, and we have seen that this topic is very commune, very diffuse in literature. And here in the table, I've just summarized some of the most recent literary review papers on this topic. So starting from this state of the art, we have decided to define the goal of the study. That's to analyze the scientific literature on GHG emissions in ports. And the aim is to identify the most developed topics and define clusters associated with the most frequently used keywords. So for doing this, we started with data collection, brought out during the April 2024, and using the Scopus database. The chosen time frame goes from 2009 to March 2024. We said the topic is the greenhouse gas emissions at seaports, and for doing so, we used 2 categories of terms. The first category related to greenhouse gas emissions, and we used terms such as emissions or GHG or greenhouse gases. And the second category related to localization of the area of the study, so we used terms such as ports or seaports. These terms were searched in document titles, abstracts, or keywords, and we used only English language publications. Document type was restricted to article, the source type was limited to journal, then we excluded unrelated subjects, and after a manual screening, papers that focused on irrelevant topics. So at the end, we have a data set of 1,556 articles. Here we can see the distribution of the number of that number of articles. So published from 2009 to March 2024, and we can see that from 2016 onwards we have a growth every year per year. We can also see that in the first 3 months of 2024, we have collected 87 papers, 87 articles. And if this trend would continue for all this year, we could arrive at 348 articles. So probably this year will confirm the growing trend of the papers. Let's see now the methodology used. We used 2 techniques, bibliometric analysis and knowledge mapping, and a tool, the VOS viewer software. Starting with bibliometric analysis. Bibliometric analysis is a quantitative and objective method used to identify the state of the art of research field and predict future development trends, while knowledge mapping is used to identify clusters and relationships between keywords, and in the scientific literature is often used to analyze papers using 2 network-based methods. One is the co-citation network that analyzes links between citations in the literature. And the second one is the keyword co-occurrence networks that focus on examining the links between keywords. In this case, in this study, we have used the latter. The co-occurring keywords are identified to determine the most frequently appearing keywords, and a weighted network is created by treating each keyword as a node and each co-occurrence of a pair of words as a link between these words. Then a weight is assigned to the link connecting two keywords, determined by the number of times that they co-occur. The VOS viewer software was used for viewing the bibliometric maps. The VOS viewer constructs maps using the VOS, the visualization of similarities mapping technique. And with the VOS viewer software, maps can be created based on co-citation data for authors or journals, or the co-occurrence data for keywords. And in this case, we have used the latter. Now I will show the main results of our work. So on the right, you can see the co-occurrence keyword map that was created using a fractional counting co-occurrence method. Only keywords with at least 10 occurrences were included in the analysis, and we totalized a number of 468 keywords. We have also identified 5 clusters that are characterized with a different color in the map. Now I will illustrate and go into deep for each cluster, one at a time. It's important to notice that the diameter of the nodes is related to the number of co-occurrences. So higher the number of co-occurrences, and bigger is the diameter of the dot of the node. So let's start with the first cluster in red. On the right, you can see an enlargement of the map that we have just seen, and on the left, and this for every cluster that we will see now, there's the table with the first 25 keywords based on the number of occurrences. So we have atmospheric pollution at the first place with 185 occurrences, 388 links, and a total link strength of 185. Then we have air pollution with 173, air quality with 158, and particulate matter with 141 occurrences. In this case, we have named this cluster air pollution based on the occurrences of the first keywords. In general, this cluster can be considered a cross-cutting one because it isn't specific of the topic of ports, but it's more a general cluster that comprises the keywords that are related to the pollution of the air and to human activities. And this probably is because ports are often located next to human activities, next to cities. So this cluster is the bigger cluster with 150 keywords. The second cluster is the maritime transport one. In green, we can see that shipping is the first keyword with 205 occurrences, 422 links, and a total link strength of 204. In this case, we can consider this cluster as a seaside cluster. So we can include in this cluster all the operations that we can record in the seaside of a port, such as entry and exit of ships in the port, or maneuvering at the berth. The third cluster in the blue was named energy efficiency, mainly because we have various keywords that are linked to this topic, such as energy efficiency, energy utilization, energy management, energy conservation. We can also see that in the top part of the figure we have smaller dots, but it's interesting to notice that maybe these are future trends that are not still very present in the literature, such as hydrogen, natural gas, renewable energy resources, renewable energy sources, solar panel generation, LNG, fuel cells. So this subcluster, we can call it, is related probably with new energy alternative resources. Fourth cluster in yellow. This cluster is very interrelated with the other clusters that we have just seen, the green one and the blue one, probably because this cluster, especially for the first three keywords, has a high number of links and occurrences. In fact, ships is the first keyword with 378 occurrences, 456 links, and a total link strength of 377. It is also the keyword with most occurrences. In this case, we can consider this cluster as a landside system, so with many keywords that are referred to the port terminals and to containers and to optimization and costs and trucks. So this cluster probably considers mainly the operations that are common in the port terminals. For the last cluster is the cluster number 5 in purple. This is the smallest cluster. The first keyword is nitrogen oxide with 99 occurrences, 320 links, and a total link strength of 98. But in general, this cluster comprises different keywords that are linked to ship engines. So probably this cluster can be associated to what happens in the ports while ships are in berth. So ship emissions, exhaust emissions, fuels, compressors, and combustion. This cluster is very related with the other clusters and is the cluster with a bigger standard deviation. So in conclusion, we can say that the issue of emissions in ports is constantly evolving due to the global trend to reduce emissions. It is therefore important that scientific research develops all current issues. The construction and definition of the co-occurrence keyword cluster could be the first step towards a more detailed literature review that can include a subsequent subdivision of the articles by thematic theme, thematic area, and subcluster categories. And the 5 clusters provided from this study can give us some more information regarding the current research areas, such as we said, pollution, maritime transport, energy efficiency, port terminals, and engines. This is where future trends could start. And the emergence of energy-efficient technologies and alternative fuels could influence the policies of reduction of emissions in port. Some future directions, obviously further studies on sustainable port operations and energy management are necessary, and so as the need to investigate individual clusters in a more specific way. And probably we should include other databases, not only Scopus, such as Web of Science and others, to complete our research. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Daniel, for your presentation. I ask if there is any question for Daniel coming from the audience. If there is no question from the audience, I would like to ask to Daniel if you could stress which is your plan for the next research steps. You could you think to focus on a specific port or any area, particular area. I have in mind the recent introduction from the European side of the European emission trading scheme that is I think that could be also investigated on our side.
Well, probably the first thing that we could do is to shorten the time period, so conduct the analysis only on the last years to see effectively which are the last trends, and then probably constrain the research to a shorter area, maybe Europe. This could be as a solution, and then analyze in detail maybe some papers to effectively see which are the main solutions. So not only the keywords, but then also the solutions and the conclusions of the authors in literature.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can see in the room Wazir back. So while Teresa Guarda and the other group of authors of presentation number 3 are still not present. So I would like to invite Mr. Wazir to present his work. We are not strictly inside the 20 minutes, as we are only 3 presentations. Please go ahead.
Okay. All right. Good morning. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Can you please see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay. Now?
No.
Okay. Is it visible right now? Okay. Can you?
Okay.
Can you see my screen, please? Right now, is it visible or not? Can you please?
No, we cannot. We cannot see your screen.
Sharing. Okay, now it must be visible, I hope. Is it visible right now?
But
Sorry, is it
are you sharing your screen from the?
Yes, from the PC, from the my laptop. Yeah. I don't know why. Okay, share screen. Not sure. Share screen.
No, I think you should go after sharing it. You should go to your PPT file.
Yes, I'm on the PPT file now.
No, but
Is it okay?
Okay, it's okay.
Okay, perfect.
Try to go ahead if the
Okay.
the slide go ahead.
Okay. Is it visible?
We see the first slide.
Only the first slide.
Okay, you can start.
Okay, now is it visible?
Sorry?
Is it visible, please?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Starting from here, I'm Wazir Baksh from University of Salerno.
Yes.
And this literature review on SmartPort, its evolution, technological development, and performance indicator is co-authored by my PhD supervising team, Professor Stefano De Luca and Dr. Chiara Fiori. I'll describe motivation and background, SmartPort development stages, technology being used in the ports, key performance indicator, and bibliometric analysis, followed by a conclusion of all the above points. Okay, according to United Nations, global.
Please, Wazir, we are still seeing the first slide.
Okay.
Make the presentation mode.
Okay. First slide.
Go ahead. If you go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, now.
Number 2. Okay.
Okay.
Please.
Perfect. Sure. Okay. I'll describe motivation and background, SmartPort development stages, and technology being used in the ports, key performance indicator, followed by bibliometric analysis, and result of all the topic discussable. Is it visible right now? Right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. According to United Nations, 80% of the transportation of the goods we use is transported by sea. However, this sector also comes with environmental challenges. For example, maritime transportation is responsible for 3% of global greenhouse gas emission. The graph on the right side shows that if this trend goes like this way, container throughput at port can be expected to reach 1 billion TEUs by 2027. Challenges related to port include greenhouse gas emission caused by ship maneuvering and ship docking, and also port handling activities. City congestion is caused by trucks and gate activities. Ports are the major consumer of resources, for example, energy and water. Safety is another issue related to fatigue and injuries. Automation also needs job security regulation. The highest dependency on the automation is another issue. And also the lack of digital infrastructure can be challenging. Moreover, the noise pollution caused by ports affects the worker, marine life, urban areas, and citizens as well. Now, these all issues motivate us for a strong push for the innovation. Now we come to the smart port. Smart ports can promise to improve efficiency and sustainability of the ports. We analyzed 76 papers through many downloaded, and we also looked into the official websites to get up-to-date knowledge. And we used the WOS Viewer software for the creation of mapping. keywords related to ports and digitalization were used. Okay, development stages. The phase one of the port include loading and unloading cargo from ships with the limited technology. Phase two was the era of invention of cranes and forklifts. It is a more advanced version as compared to previous one. And phase three is the rise of containerization and intermodal transportation. Phase four is more advanced with the data analytics and integration of automation and robotics, advanced data analytics for the real-time decision making, and focuses more on the sustainable development. Now, what smart ports are actually? Smart ports go behind traditional operation by integrating a range of technologies, including automation, data analytics, real-time communication. This creates a connected ecosystem where information flow freely by optimizing processes. Smart ports are more tech-driven, technology-driven, automatic. For example, they replaces the repetitive task and free up the human expertise for higher level function. Smart ports are more agile, more adaptable. Ports can respond quickly to challenging situations, for example, disruption in the supply chain. The safety is prioritized. They are energy efficient with the intelligent operations. Going to the technology, we have a bunch of technology being used in the ports, or have the potential to be used in the ports. For example, IoT embedded system, sensor and actuators are fitted in the various components of the ports, and they transfer information and data to the system and the monitoring for the monitoring and efficiency purposes. Artificial intelligence uses big data to program machines for predicting different scenarios for the optimization of various processes.
Sorry, what's here? We see slide 8 now.
Sorry, slide 8. Now, is it visible?
Slide 8, yes.
9, not?
No.
I don't know why. Okay, start sharing. Not yet.
Okay, yes.
Okay, thank you. I was describing a smart port definition. They are more technology. Should I repeat my words or should I go ahead? Because the screen was not being shared while I was speaking.
Okay.
I was in the technology section. Smart port, there are a lot of technologies which can be used, which has the potential to be used in the ports, and there are some technology being already used in the port system, in the port sector. For example, IoT embedded system. There are sensor and actuators which are fitted in different components of the ports, can transfer data and information from the system. For example, a sensor is fitted into the crane and it transfer different kind of information, the stress information, and also the maintenance information to the monitoring system with the architecture of IoT embedded system. Artificial intelligence can be used to program machines. Artificial intelligence use big data to predict different scenarios for the optimization of different processes. Automation, on the other hand, can speed up the processes, can make the processes more accurate, and the capital cost replaces the manual laboring cost. And land can be used in an optimized way. Ultimately, it has a positive impact on energy and emissions. Information and communication technologies, for example, 5G can speed up the processes and can optimize the visibility of the entire supply chain of the ports. Computer vision application for container identification can replace data entry jobs. And cybersecurity for the ports is essential because a cyber attack can make delays, can disrupt the processes, and it has a negative reputation on the ports, which comes with a cost. Cost can be long-term and also short-term. Blockchain technology is a technology which has the potential to minimize delays, which reduce the frauds, which reduce the tampering of the documents, and which can make the process more digital. There are some ports. Can you please see the slide?
Yes.
All right, thank you, perfect. There are some ports which are using technologies. For example, Port of Valencia is using sensors to predict motion and for example, a truck comes under a sensor, then it lights up. Otherwise, it doesn't. So eventually, it saves energy. Port of Rotterdam is using digitalization for custom document. Port of Gdynia in Poland is using navigational application for the ship arrival. Port of Gothenburg is using bunkering application for the ship again. Shanghai Yangshan Port Phase 4 is a completely automatic terminal. Port of Antwerp is using air quality application for checking the air quality and also the water quality near the vicinity of the port. And these are not the limited port which are using technology. There are many others. Okay, port performance indicators. Now, a port tracks a wider range of metrics called smart port indicators. Focus is more on environmental impact, energy efficiency, security, and social responsibility. Now, why these matters? Because by focusing on these areas, port can be more optimized, more sustainable, more secure, and can create a better partnership with the community. Going to bibliometrics, we see that there is a positive trend in the smart port publications. We started our research findings from 2000. There were very limited number of publication, and that grow eventually. But the real research on smart port started from 2016, and we see abrupt surge in the publication from 2021 and onward. This is an interesting figure showing that smart port research is distributed all over the globe. We see that Europe and Asia has a greater contribution, but China has the highest contribution, specifically as a country. We didn't research why China is the greatest contribution, but we assume that there's a dedicated university, Shanghai Maritime University, and the Chinese influence on the global shipping are the primary cause of this contribution. Okay, the top generals. Smart port research is a multidisciplinary field, but journals which are contributing more on this domain are more maritime journals, logistic journal, and transportation journals. Okay, the technology being used in the port is researched by various authors. There are some technologies which are, we can say, are not that mature. For example, additive manufacturing, 3D, and digital twin is still in the transformation phases, in the experiment phases. There are some technologies, for example, simulation modeling, IoT, and these are more explored areas of the technology explored by various authors. Okay, port performance indicators are different for more or less each authors. They used a different set of parameters, the different set of metrics to gauge the performance end of port. However, the primary domains are same for the all of authors. For example, they all explored operational areas, energy efficiency, environmental aspects, safety and security, social economical domains are found in more or less each paper. We used Viewer software for creation of knowledge mapping. Keywords mapping show that SmartPort has a higher density, followed by digital twin, Internet of Things, and digital transformation. Okay, what we conclude from this literature review, that SmartPort doesn't have a standard definition. It's going under transformation. Now, technology is the primary driver of this transformation. But technology is not everything a port needs. It's the management style, it's the management attitude, where, how, and when they use these technology and how they integrate with the system. Furthermore, KPI are the incredible measure to gauge the level of port performance or smartness of the port. And finally, we conclude that smart port research is latest, it's growing constantly, it belongs to multiple disciplines, and it is distributed worldwide. Furthermore, we suggest that research that explores the challenges and behaviors those ports are hesitate to take technology in implementation phase is worth exploring. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And sorry for the disruption due to the
No,
slides.
don't worry, don't worry. It's okay. Thank you for your presentation. I ask to the audience if there is any question.
Okay.
However, if you have some minutes at the end, we can also have a short debate. If there are no questions, yes, Patrizia, have you any question? No. Okay. Okay, I have a couple of suggestions. Così. Thank you for your wide presentation.
Thank you.
I would like to ask you regarding the ICT component that is entered in the port operation. If you have met papers and publication talking about the port community systems.
Yes, port
as a
community
platform
system
that is able to increase interaction among port stakeholders.
Exactly. Port
And then
system.
the second short question: if you have specified any key performance indicator, you talk about key performance indicator, but we did not see any specified indicators. I think it will be a further step of the research.
Okay, I start from the second question. Respond from the second question. KPI are somehow customized for some ports. For example, there are some ports for them KPI are efficiency in the operations. For example, there are some regulation, they implemented energy consumption as well, emission level, carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide emissions. Now, these are also categories of the indicator of the smart ports, including operational efficiency, energy, and management style, and how safe a port is, and what kind of benefit it provides to the community. These are some example of the smart port indicators.
Okay. What about the PCI, the port community system? Have you met any publication talking about this element?
Yes, on the cybersecurity portion, when I was studying the cybersecurity of the ports, we found that port community system or port community window are some vulnerable components of the port that can be attacked by cyber criminals. That window, that cyber community system is a hub for the port which connects different stakeholders in the supply chain. Now, this is a very vulnerable component in the cyber domain because it needs a lot of protection from the attackers, because it is rich in the data. It is a lot of data of port operations and also the clients and the supply chain in the overall logistic. So I read some paper in the cyber domain of the port community system.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now I see Giuseppe Borruso.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry for being late before. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
Please, you have 20 minutes for presentation and questions. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. 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 So thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the word. The paper that we are presenting, I'm presenting this paper on behalf of the research group that is composed by Silvia Battino from the University of Sassari and Ginevra Brandletto from the University of Cagliari in Italy. Our paper is focusing on the concept of port-cities symbiosis, and with a particular focus on the ports of Cagliari and Olbia, both belonging to the Port Authority of the Sardinia Sea, and the Port of Trieste, now part of the Port Authority of the Eastern Adriatic Sea, both in Italy. The main idea behind the realization of this research is that to the application of the concept of circular economy into the port context, with particular reference to the relationship that ports have with their territory, and particularly with the cities they are, in most of the cases, related to, particularly in the Italian context, where cities and ports share very close and common locations, and therefore, particularly in light of the expansion and the evolution of ports, some kind of conflicts in the land use and interaction with territories can be actually observed. On the other side, there is the interest. There has been the interest of exploring in which terms circular economical activities can be actually carried on in port areas, and how these can be of benefits also for the urban framework where they are inserted in. To do that, we actually recalled a couple of let's say, traditional models used by geographers to understand, on one side, industrial location, and on the other side, to understand the evolution of ports and the city ports relationship. These models, in particular the Weber model of industrial location and Bert's Anyport model explaining the evolution of ports, have been observed and modified in order to be adapted to the most recent challenges that ports and cities are facing. As an operational instrument, we developed a city port interference and interaction matrix that is actually used to, on one side, to highlight the areas where ports and city interact, and to present also a framework where actually circular economy activities can be actually implemented as a policy tool. As a case study, as said, in particular, we've been focusing on the 3 different ports, considering also the differences that these ports have. As a framework, where this analysis is actually put into, we do know that the European area, European framework is configured with about more or less more than 1,000 seaports, with more than 400 million passengers actually moved, and with the more than 1.5 million workers actually involved into this framework. European ports, in particular, can be characterized by this set of characteristics, like, as anticipated, a strong port cities interaction, given the fact that European ports are strongly related to the cities, lengthy connections. The European spatial organization, internal spatial organization, is as such that many of the ports that we consider, most of the ports that we consider can have particularly a role as a gateway in connecting the maritime foreland with the hinterlands, and hinterlands very, very often do overlap. Globalization, of course, has been affecting also European ports in terms of the containerization and intermodality, both in sense of the different roles as hubs and gateway, but also we reference, as said, with the internal connections. And of course, the concept of hybridization, it is a concept that we have been recently exploring, particularly to observe how the functions played by port in the era of specialization appear now to be a little bit more mixed and hybridized. As a matter of example, pure hubs, pure gateways port cannot be generally highlighted apart from some particular cases, and also the terminal functions are no more so neatly distinguished to one from the other. For example, we have container terminals that are dedicated to container traffic, but more and more multi-purpose platforms are developed in order to host different kinds of transport to be actually handled. Port-city interaction in time has actually grown in time, particularly given to the expansion of cities and airports, both following different dynamics that sometimes, as we mentioned, can be actually considered as an element of context. Have conflict, port-city integration after a stage in which ports have developed in a separated way with respect to the city, has become more and more important. Particularly, the port economics is importantly affecting also the urban economics. What we in this framework, what we have tried to do at development is to consider these different elements. On one side, I said the concept of hybridization, that is that of the presence of multifunctions in port terminals and in port areas, that of the industrial symbiosis, very, very much linked to the concept of circular economy, particularly because in terms of location, ports represent interesting environment where to actually set up economic activities, and we know that in the past many economic activities has been set in ports, given the benefits of location. Today, this can be also the opportunity for developing forms of industrial symbiosis aimed at minimizing the production of waste, and to implement virtuous processes of circularity. In this framework, we developed actually this methodology considering the circularity in location and the port-cities symbiosis matrix. Just a short overview concerning the models that we did consider, that have been considered particularly in previous works done by the research group. On one side, the Weber circular model that was originally aimed at understanding, try to understand the best locations in terms of manufacturing plants, given the fixed spatial assets, like the places of resources and market, and also the logistic nodes. That, as a matter of example, help to explain also why, as a matter of example, heavy industrial activities like the iron industry as very often set up in ports. We have several examples of that in Italy. Let's think about Taranto. Let's think about Trieste, or other cases in which the need to minimize transport of bulky materials has identified ports as the ideal location where to set up activities. This kind of model developed also to understand other location aspects has been recently modified in order to consider the cases in which industries producing waste can be also considered as potential sources of secondary raw materials, and therefore that can also influence where industrial location can be also set. On the other side, we reconsider the bird model, in which, as you can observe from the green boxes, there are some possible areas of hybridization in the different functions. If, as said, in a certain period of time, ports specialized in their function, and therefore every terminal, every part of the port area was more or less specialized in a given movement or in a given economic activities. Today, this is less evident. Downtown areas, as a matter of example, have been the object of reconversion of the old docks into urban functions, or very often cruise terminals are located in proximity of the city centers, therefore presenting an hybridization of functions between the urban ones and the port terminals one. As said, terminals are of course specialized, but more and more multipurpose terminals are being developed in order to adapt to the difference to the economical and also geopolitical and geoeconomical challenges that affect traffic. Therefore, being able to host both containers, semi-trailers, etc., etc. These are just a couple of examples of the hybridization. Of course, one other point deals with the fact that ports are more and more moving towards the external parts far from the shore with dry ports, and dry ports are very often also in proximity of and extending urban areas, and so a potential interaction between port-related facilities and urban-related ones can be also be spotted, what we can actually observe in more external part of the ports. About the matrix that we did consider. We did consider strategic and urban planning tools, as well as the port planning tools, and consider the state of adoption of these different plans, as you can observe from the left side of this presentation, and on the other side, what are the port and urban planning topics, like the port-cities relationship, transport, industrial area, and the presence of free zones that in literature are considered as potentially interesting areas for developing, for boosting economic activities, and in particular circular economy activities. About the three ports considered, as said, two of these ports belong to the same port authority as Cagliari and Olbia, with some peculiarities. The port of Cagliari used to be a container hub. Now it is regaining again this role, but in particular, he is dedicated to the RoRo and ferry traffic for the West Med. Port of Olbia, again, peculiarity with the RoRo and RoPax activities, particularly given its closer proximity to mainland, and it is Sardinia's main passenger port. On the other side, the port of Trieste works as a free port, as an international port, and in particular having an international role if compared to other Italian ports, particularly as a gateway to Central Europe for the routes coming from the Far East and from the Mediterranean Sea. Okay. Having a look to the different frameworks, we exploded this matrix. Actually, this analytical matrix of the different planning tools, and also this matrix therefore consider both the different areas distinguished in waterfront, port area in strict sense, semi-periphery and periphery, and the port and urban planning. From the crossing of this metrics, we can observe how the different planning tools tackle on one side the port and urban economic activities and the port and urban location. The different presence and colors given to these different urban planning tools, approved, adopted, and in progress, give us the idea of how can provide us with an idea on if and how this can be effective in tackling this set of interaction with the. Of course, with the analysis of the port of Trieste is particularly tackling the waterfront and free zone area, as we can observe, being a free port. It is something that has been started many years ago and started to be operational. And of course, it is affecting all of the areas that are actually related to port activities. And more or less all of the different boxes are filled, apart from the industrial area and the waterfront. Moving to Cagliari, we have a different situation in which, in particular, it holds a close proximity to industrial area and free. Almost recently established free zone is working in proximity of the port and of the free zone, and its action is more present, particularly in the semi-periphery and periphery. On the other side, at the port of Olbia, we can observe both a high level of interaction on the waterfront and on the port area, with particular reference to transport activities, industrial area, and about the free zone by its belonging to the special economic zone as the other southern Italian ports. So these kind of matrix have been considered as a potential framework where to consider where to analyze the potential city and port relationships, in particular to put things with a little bit of more order in terms of the benefits, challenges, and solutions that can be obtained from this knowledge. Shared knowledge and planning can be for sure one of the benefit of applying this kind of tool in terms of socioeconomic development, fostering environmental sustainability, and the interdependence between cities and ports. Challenges are present in terms of the conflicting interests. As said, there is in expanding ports and cities, there can be conflict in the end uses, and therefore in differences in the development aims expressed by ports and cities. About the solution, we assemble that there is the need of a multi-level governance, and that is also flexible to adapt, and the sharing of strategic plans. These kind of actions should be already implementable, particularly in the Italian system, in which, as we know, there is a need to harmonize urban planning tools and port planning tools, and also we have, as in the port committees, as we know, a representative of the municipalities are also present. Nonetheless, we know that there are cases in which both authorities and the municipalities go on their own in setting up the planning tools that are related to their areas. So, in these terms, in particular, the multi-level governance should actually be needed. I thank you for your attention, and of course, we remain available if there is any question.
Thank you, Giuseppe, for your presentation. There is time just for a short question, if there is any question from the audience. Otherwise, I have one question.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. There are many suggestions, of course. The main elements concern the possibility to quantify the benefits that you have described in the last slide. Do you think that as for the research, next steps of the research, is it possible to you plan to use some methods to quantify the amount of interactions between the city and the port in terms of benefits, benefits coming from the adoption of measures or solution that you call solution in the plan?
Yes, this is precisely our idea in going on with research. So I thank you for your question and for pointing out that. In fact, we have some other presentation that is going to be presented in the following days, also in ICCSA conference, that are related to different aspects. As a matter of example, we are exploring. We are in particular in the case of Trieste, we are working with my research group there on the analysis, as a matter of example, of the companies that are active within the industrial area and port authority area, because in Trieste, as a case study, there is the fact that the industrial area is under the control of the port authority. It is a consortium that is actually managed by the president of the port authority, and therefore there is, or there should be, a higher level of knowledge and integration between the economic activities that are done in the industrial area and those in the port area. As it happens in Italy, we are still in a stage in which we have to complete a survey on what are actually the companies that are located within this area and what are their performances, and we are exploring also together with the consortium for the industrial development, what could be the industrial symbiosis that can be carried out in that framework, and what is the role of these activities and the territory. On the other side, of course, we are also exploring. We are also trying to quantify what are the possible interactions, both in positive and negative terms, that are taking place. As a matter of example, since one of the formerly industrial area in the city of Trieste had developed onto a dry port, there has been a concern by the local population about the noise that has been produced by lorries, semi-trailers, etc., etc. So compensation measures has been introduced in order to mitigate the negative effect. So our idea is on one side that of establishing what is the, let's say, the magnifier that we can use to observe this set of phenomena as a first step, and as a second step to try to provide a quantification of that. So develop a set of indicators and try to fill the different gaps with some values.
Okay, thank you very much. The last thank you. The last presentation is from me. I will share my screen, hopefully. Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Yes, we can see.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. This presentation is carried out in the behalf of a research project, an Italian research project dealing with the factors affecting time of ships in container ports. And this is a 2 years research project that it started since a couple of months. Is Italian project, and at the first stage of this research project, there is we have identified a first activities concerning the identification of the characteristic of ports, of commercial port. The focus is on commercial ports, and this classification is done upon upon the port generation approach that was introduced by UNCTAD in the 90s. In the literature, there are different port classification and taxonomies, but of course there is no one commonly accepted classification due to ports complexity and heterogeneity. Can you see the second slide? Yes, I hope so.
Yes.
Yes, we can see.
As I said, UNCTAD coined the definition of port generation with the aim to classify ports according to different criteria. And then we try to extend focusing a research line to extend this classification to make our own proposal in order to arrive to a quantity to obtain to have the possibility to have a quantitative analysis and classification of port characteristics. So this is according to this introduction, the presentation is articulated in 4 parts: literature review on the port generation approach, then the identification of characteristics of each port generation, and then a first proposal of our own approach, and at the end the research perspectives. The introduction of port generation concept was made from UNCTAD at the end of 19th, and UNCTAD introduced the three-port generation according to some criteria, and another generation, the fourth generation port, was simply sketched as a result of vertical and horizontal integration strategies. From these times, the research debate was active in the further years. Many authors introduced some criticisms on this approach due to the possibility to have continuous evolution of ports rather than an evolution in discrete steps, and then other elements that were added to the debate. We arrived in the first decades of our century, and further generation were added in this classification, because due to new processes that new megatrends that appeared in the shipping market and also in the commercial ports. The first megatrend concerned as I said, the vertical and horizontal integration in the among the operators of the market, and then the great incorporation in every field of the digitalization. So from the original specification of UNCTAD, further elements that are still under development were added until today, and these are some papers previous papers that published from me and Francesco Russo, which is the co-author of this presentation, about this revisioning, the revisioning of this approach. Also, we tried to introduce some quantitative elements in order to modellistic elements in order to support the analysis of the last processes, main processes that were observed in the market, which, as I said, concern the horizontal integration or the cooperation among ports, and entering of the emerging ICT in regulating and the stakeholder interaction. So, according to this first state of the art, another step that we would like to propose here in this paper is the identification of some main factors or characteristics that could characterize each port generation. According to the literature, we see that there is 5 main classes or generation, if we would like to use the word of UNCTAD, from the first, which is the first kind of port that arise from ancient times, which is the city port, structure, to the second generation, which is the industrial port. The third generation is the port that arisen from the container revolution. And then we have the fourth, which is the port that changes its attitudes from a competitive attitude towards a cooperative attitudes. And then we have the first generation of ports, which is the port that where there is a massive presence of the ICT. These are not, of course, this according to this classification, it is possible an hybridization of different characteristics inside one port. As we saw in the previous presentation, ports could have characteristic belonged to one or more than one generation. And these are the keywords that could be associated to each port generation, and the main characteristics. So the city port is the port where there are high interaction between the port itself and the surrounding city. The industrial port is the port that was born to serve a great industrial plant, heavy industrial plant. We talked about Trieste and also Taranto, and also Augusta in Sicily is another port that belong to this class. The third container port, the third generation was the container port that was born with the revolution of container, and also that is able to add to increase the value added in the port by manipulating the goods, the freight. So the port lose its characteristics of center of cost and acquire a characteristic of a generator of value added, fully embedded in the supply chain or in the value chain. The fourth generation is the cooperative ports, or ports which belong or in a closer regions and abandon their traditional competitive attitude towards a cooperative attitude. We can see in the international context to the first cooperative ports is the one between Malmo and Copenhagen. Also, there are examples in China between Ningbo and Busan, where two container ports starting a cooperation and boosting their traffic. And also there are other examples in USA, like Los Angeles and Long Beach, where the cooperation started after the realization of a great transportation infrastructure, the Alameda Corridor. And also we have some form of cooperation also in Europe. We see the Antwerp and Bruges common governance. Also in Italy, we saw that there was a reform that tried to extend the port authorities, cioè to increase the number of port inside one governance. Even if we know that this reform was not completed. The fifth generation port is the digital port that where there is a massive presence of emerging ICT. We know that many ports or implementing their port community systems, which is a platform, a digital platform that allow to increase the stakeholder interaction and increase the stakeholder interaction in order to maximize, to reduce port times or costs. In order to, because we know that each stakeholder has his own developed in the past his own digital platform that did not talk with interact with other platforms. Now this the attempt we see this trend in development this kind of platforms that allow to see the port stakeholder as a whole community. Okay, so I would like to introduce just some characteristics, some identified characteristics of each port generation. Before going to the conclusions, we try to identify some first factors concerning the management and the territorial areas of the ports. The management of the governance of the port may be, we know that may be private. We go from fully private to fully public. In general, there could be just one entity that govern the port, or more than one entity. On the territorial area, we can have a continuous area without an interruption of a discontinuous area where the port territory is interrupted by other area destined to other activities. And then, according to these two managers, two factors, three combination may arise. The first concern the combination where the management and the territorial areas of the port coincide. The second concern the case where the management and the territorial area of the port do not coincide. And then there is a third combination where both the factors or one of the factor are discontinuous. And this generate several cases that are not analyzed in this work. The other factors that we introduced, the macro factors that we introduced as element of classification are three. The static physical structure, which are the infrastructure available in the port. The dynamic mechanical infrastructure, which is the equipment available for loading, unloading, transport, and storage within the port. And then the third element is related to the ship that currently call the port. These three macro factors completely identify the function of the ports and therefore the generation it belongs to. As I said, a generation is not an element of ranking because that not imply a better quality compared to the others, but imply the modification of the main port function due to the globalization of trade, for example. Okay, so due to the level of the integration of macro factor, we can characterize the generation, the port generation, because high generation of macro factors, infrastructure, equipment, and ship, determine a strong specialization of the port and better performance of the port. While low integration of macro factors determine less specialization of the port, but greater diversification of freight processed. And these two conditions are necessary and sufficient. Okay, having setting these element, I will go quickly in identifying a first identification of each port generation. We know that we say that the first generation of port is the city port that was directly connected with the cities. It is possible to classify this port according to existing infrastructure, equipment, and ships. And so on with the second generation of ports that are ports that serve large industrial area, so needs huge loading capacity, direct connection without constraints on shape, length, and unit of loads. We go on we go on the third generation of the container port that or ports that where transport freight travel via unitized transport, and also where it is possible to add value to the by manipulating the goods. And in these cases, infrastructure, equipment, and ship are more specialized in order to operate with, for example, hyper-specialized container ships. The fourth generation is not a physical entity, as you can understand, but is obtained from the previous three, and is the cooperative ports. We know that shipping alliance and increasing ship dimension pushed closed ports to modify their economic strategy, moving from competitive to cooperative attitudes. And there are different lines of cooperations in order to, for example, optimize common infrastructure and equipment, or to introduce synergies. Fourth generation ports are also called port systems. The fifth generation ports is the port that also has no physical, is not a physical entity as the one before, but is a port where there is a massive use of ICT. There is where the possibility, there is the possibility to share the same ICT tools among all port operators by means of, for example, port community system to improve the administrative process, to use the equipment by programming its optimal position on the different elements of the port, and reduce, obtain as the reduction of ship port times and also port operation. According to this first step that concern the identification of the methodological elements to define the macro factors according to each generation of ports, the next step concern the specification of quantitative indicators according to the level of integration of the three macro factors presented inside the port, and their experimental calculation of the specified indicator in a port according to the acquisition of ICE data, following the step of the research problem we are involved in. Thank you for your attention. Or then any question?
May I ask a question for
Yes.
the sake of curiosity? Thank you for the interesting presentation. Has on the port generation, on the fifth generation, we see that ports are equipped with the ICT technology, but we observe that this transformation going to the fifth generation is slower compared to the other sectors. Have you ever explored the area, the reason behind the hesitance of maritime ports to implement those ICT technologies rapidly? What are the key barriers and challenges they face in the digital transformation?
Yes, thank you for this question. The reason, my idea is that, of course, this is a highly competitive market where there are some barriers in sharing data, for example, and other information. For example, there are some example of port community system in European and Asia ports, but I agree with you that or in a developing step. There are some functions that have been implemented and other are still ongoing. We in Italy we saw on this element, we saw a tentative to build in the last years to build a national digital platform. This initiative was came from the center, the Ministry of Transport, a company from the Ministry of Transport, did not obtain the the results to put under one single platform all the ports. Very brief. And now there is another having in mind this result. Now there is another approach. There is a kind of the first was top-down approach. Now there is a bottom-up approach to kind of develop each port his own PCS, and then to let interact. So I agree with you that in this market, in this area, even if there is a large, each stakeholder has his own platform well developed. There are some barriers to arrive to a common neutral platform, because there are due to the reasons I said.
All right. Thank you very much for the response.
Okay. There are other questions also on the other presentation. If there are some consideration. Please, Giuseppe Borruso, you would like to say something?
No, I'm okay. Thank you. I did appreciate very much the overview that you provided, and yes, time in line with your analysis and also with the comments that was here provided from that. I think that the technological aspect is possibly one of the toughest to tackle, particularly in Italian ports, because it is true that the ICT revolution is actually ongoing, and in some cases it is actually helping, because if I remember what it is ongoing in the port of Trieste, just for all, also for the international operations, the digitalization of travel documents, as a matter of example, it is something that it is helping in coping with difficulties in imaging spaces, because in Trieste port area we have shortage of available spaces, and digitalization of documents and movement of document operation to destination. It is something that ICT tools are actually helping very much. But yes, I am with some of your comments, but some of these aspects are not yet fully implemented, particularly in Italian ports. In any case, thank you very much for the presentation, because it was a very, very good overview and framework of the different situations that we are facing in ports and port evolutions.
Okay. Are there any other comments from? If no, I thank you for your presentation, for your work. I hope to meet you soon in the next conference, in the next section. Okay.
Thank you.
Also with presence also.
In presence, we hope. Okay.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Ciao. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.
Bye, everybody. Bye.